On a Sunday morning in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan, a peaceful service at a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS, meeting house was shattered by an extreme act of targeted violence. The assailant, identified as 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford, a local resident, Iraq War veteran and former Marine, executed a devastating attack. The assault began with Sanford deliberately ramming his pickup truck, reportedly emblazoned with American flags, through the front doors of the church. He then exited the vehicle and opened fire on the hundreds of congregants gathered inside using an assault rifle, before setting the building ablaze with an accelerant. The rapid response of local police and a Michigan Department of Natural Resources officer resulted in a gunfight that ended with the shooter's death within minutes. Tragically, the attack left at least 4 people dead and 8 wounded, with the potential for more victims discovered in the charred remains of the structure. The initial analysis by law enforcement, including the FBI, which took the lead in the investigation, immediately classified the incident as an act of targeted violence. This framing distinguishes it from random acts of crime, implying premeditation and a specific, though unconfirmed, motive against the institution or its members. President Donald Trump, in his immediate reaction on social media, condemned the event, calling for an end to the epidemic of violence and characterizing it as a targeted attack on Christians. This political commentary immediately injected the tragedy into the national discourse on religious freedom and domestic terrorism. Reasons and underlying context. As of this writing, authorities have not definitively ascribed a singular motive to Sanford's actions. However, analysis of the surrounding context suggests a nexus of potential factors, often seen in attacks on houses of worship. Individual factors. Investigators focused heavily on Sanford's personal history, which included service as an Iraq War veteran and reported financial distress stemming from his young son's medical condition. Attacks involving veterans struggling with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, or mental health crises are not uncommon in mass violence incidents. While police have not confirmed a link, this profile suggests a potentially troubled individual experiencing a personal breakdown that mobilized into extreme violence. Furthermore, reports indicate Sanford drove past other churches to specifically target the LDS meeting house, highlighting a deliberate choice. Broader context of targeted violence. Beyond individual pathology, this attack must be viewed within the rising national trend of targeted violence against religious institutions. According to analyses by organizations like the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, over 2/3 of targeted violence incidents against houses of worship are motivated by hatred of a specific racial or religious identity. Houses of worship are often perceived as soft targets due to their commitment to open, welcoming environments and their typically limited security presence. This vulnerability, coupled with the symbolic nature of religious sites, makes them attractive targets for extremists and individuals motivated by hate. Consequences and societal fallout. The immediate consequences were devastating, plunging the tight-knit Grand Blanc community into profound mourning. Governor Gretchen Whitmer ordered flags lowered to half-staff, and local schools were closed to allow families time to process the event. Beyond the immediate death toll, the emotional and psychological trauma on the survivors and the entire congregation is immense, threatening the feeling of safety that worship centers are meant to provide. The wider societal consequence lies in the heightened fear among religious communities across the nation. Incidents like the Grand Blanc shooting fuel the difficult debate around how to balance the constitutional right to freedom of worship with the need for physical security. Furthermore, the political characterization of the event by national leaders highlights the ongoing tension in America regarding domestic extremism and the protection of faith communities, ensuring the event will be referenced in ongoing legislative and security discussions. Prediction and future trends. The trend of attacks on religious soft targets is predicted to continue, driven by several factors. The persistent availability of high-powered firearms, the ease of radicalization or mobilization by isolated individuals online, and the deep societal polarization that increasingly demonizes the other. Attacks are likely to become more complex, incorporating multiple tactics such as vehicular assault, shooting, and arson, as seen in Grand Blanc, to maximize casualties and instill terror. In response, houses of worship across denominations will face increasing pressure to harden their facilities, leading to a visible shift in the religious experience, from purely open sanctuaries to environments with more pronounced security measures, including armed guards, secure entry points, and heightened surveillance. Solutions and mitigation. Addressing this problem requires a comprehensive, multi-layered approach involving policy, community engagement, and direct security measures. Enhanced security and training. Faith communities must adopt multi-layered security plans tailored to their specific needs, moving beyond a single line of defense. This includes physical security upgrades, bollards, secure doors, establishing well-trained volunteer safety teams, and conducting joint training exercises with local law enforcement. Federal programs, such as those offered by CISA and DHS, must receive robust funding to provide free security consultations and grants for physical upgrades. Mental health intervention and threat assessment. Given the likelihood that many perpetrators of mass violence are experiencing personal crisis, communities must improve systems for identifying and intervening with individuals exhibiting concerning behavior. This involves better outreach to veterans and at-risk groups and establishing local threat assessment teams, CATs, that connect mental health professionals, law enforcement, and community leaders to de-escalate potential threats before violence occurs. Policy reform. While controversial, comprehensive policy reform concerning access to assault-style weapons must be considered alongside existing security measures. Simultaneously, efforts should be made to combat extremist rhetoric online that specifically targets religious and ethnic groups, which often serves as the fuel for these premeditated acts of violence.